technology. Can't live with it, can't live without it. And so we take a deep breath in, as I need to do. Let it out with an audible sigh as we just ground ourselves into this space of love and joy and oneness. So good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Reverend Vicky, Elder, and it is my joy and honor to welcome you to Unity of Monterey Bay, a beloved community co-created with love and intention that welcomes all people, all races, ages, cultures, ethnic backgrounds, economic circumstances, nationalities, and religions. Whatever your immigration status, sexual orientation, gender identity, family configuration, and or abilities, whether you're here with us in person or joining us virtually, we know that love knows no boundaries. We are one in spirit. As a purpose-driven church, Unity of Monterey Bay is an inclusive spiritual community committed to co-creating an environmentally sustainable, spiritually fulfilling, socially just, and compassionate human presence on this planet. We celebrate our oneness, and we honor the God of each of our understanding, affirming the innate good and divine essence within each and every individual. Would you please join me in our statement of faith? There is only one presence and one power in the universe, God the good, expressing as infinite God beyond us, intimate God beside us, inner God being us, divine love in action. And so as we, I don't know why this is cutting out. And so as we allow this knowing to deepen within our souls and serve to awaken us into the enlightenment for the benefit of all living beings, we honor our community as we center ourselves in this blessing. Blessed are those who can open. Blessed are those who can open their doors, tables, and hearts, letting the known and unknown come in. Blessed are those who absorb others' quirks, hurts, and foibles with good humor and calm, gracefully. Blessed are those hosts who know that they are in turn welcome and needed as they welcome and feed others. Blessed are those hosted who know and appreciate the vulnerability that such a welcome might bring. Respect goes both ways. Blessed are we when we open, absorb, welcome, need, feed, appreciate, and allow others to gently return the same. And as we breathe into this moment of inner truth and gratitude, we affirm together, thank you, God, for this most amazing day. Miracle follows miracle, and wonders never cease. And now, as we do every Sunday, this is the time we celebrate our children. Most of them are too cool for upstairs now, so they go directly downstairs, but we've got, are you going to come on up? We've got Sage, who's going to so easily represent the preciousness of our children. So we join as we hold all the children of the world, children in our families, in our hearts and minds. We see them protected and resilient, creative and evolving, joyous and loved as we join in our heartfelt blessing. We love you, we bless you, we appreciate you just the way you are.
we center ourselves to embrace this blissful interconnection with Spirit. And we invite the chime to call us into the sacred space within. We ring the chime 4 times to call in the 4 directions and to remind us of our interconnection with all of creation and with the sacred circle of life. As we feel it resonate through our very beings, we follow its call into this now present moment within. Focusing on our breath with each inhale, we open our hearts and minds. We envision our breath reaching every cell of our being. And with each exhale, we see all barriers and obstacles dissolving into the divine flow. And again, as we inhale, we expand the spaciousness within us. We move beyond the limitations and boundaries of our bodies. And as we exhale, we ground ourselves deep within Mother Earth and into our oneness with the universe. Finally, we breathe our awareness into the highest expression of love, light, joy, and peace we can imagine. As we experience a transforming wave of gratitude with a fullness of heart, we say yes to it all. Embracing, claiming, and knowing the divine Christ Spirit, expressing in, through, and as us. And with a final exhale, we say thank you, God. So now fully centered and transformed by the power of Spirit, we enter into our lesson meditation time with today's daily word.
We read from the July 7th Daily Word, shared with permission of Unity, publisher of Daily Word, that can also be found at dailyword.com. And the word is behold. I invite you to allow my words to be your words. My soul thirsts for God. In times of trouble or great joy, I behold the wonder of God in a world filled to overflowing with divine splendor. Whenever I fail to notice, I look to the people who love me and to the people I love, and I know I am blessed. I behold God everywhere and rest in the knowledge that God dwells in me always. My soul thirsts for the beauty and presence of God. I find this presence expressing through me into the world, to my beloved, and to all beings throughout the world. As I affirm this great goodness, I remain aware that pain and disappointment may come to anyone. During challenging moments, I have faith that God will triumph in the fullness of time. All is well despite appearances to the contrary. I trust in God, and behold, I am satisfied. And from Scripture, my soul thirsts for God, for the living God. When shall I come and behold the face of God? Psalms chapter 42, verse 2.
Has brought me to this now moment.
In witness to the many paths to the sacred, we read from 3 sacred paths on this morning's topic. God is. From Sufism, I asked for strength, and God gave me difficulties to make me strong. I asked for wisdom, and God gave me problems to learn to solve. I asked for prosperity, and God gave me a brain and brawn to work. I asked for courage, and God gave me dangers to overcome. I asked for love, and God gave me people to help. I asked for favors, and God gave me opportunities. I received nothing I wanted. I received everything I needed. From Tibetan Buddhism, an open heart is an open mind. From Judaism, Christianity, happy are those who find wisdom and those who get understanding. For her income is better than silver, and her revenue better than gold. She is more precious than jewels, and nothing you desire can compare with her. She is a tree of life to those who lay hold of her. Those who hold her fast are called happy. Proverbs, verse 3, chapter 13, 15, and 18.
So I'm going to start by asking for all of your prayers for my voice. I don't know if you can hear it, but I definitely can feel it. I'm having issues with my frozen vocal cord again. So just see it staying strong and hearable for today's lesson. So about a week ago, Michelle and I received an email from a UMB member who had a couple of questions for us. Weird. I asked and received their permission to anonymously share their concerns this morning in this morning's lesson, as it seemed relevant. They were lamenting the seeming increase in theft and violence and indifference everywhere we look these days, and particularly even within her neighborhood. They observed that people don't seem to be paying attention or are just plainly disregarding what is right and good. And then they pose these questions. What would Jesus do if he were attacked from behind by someone who meant real harm? What if Jesus had been a woman and had been raped? Violence is so quick to happen. Would he not have defended himself? Would he taser them? Would he learn martial arts? If someone were pointing a gun at him, would he turn a cheek? Truly, how would he deal today with the escalation in violence and dishonesty? Well, as I pondered those words, what I heard was sort of this question about, if God is good all the time, how and why is the world showing up in such chaos and seemingly self-destruction? And how do we commit ourselves to live as love in a world that's seemingly so separated by fear and hate and uncaring and violence? How many of you can relate to those questions? I mean, I think we'd be in denial, and not in a healthy way, if we didn't acknowledge that how the world's showing up challenges our spiritual beliefs. I know that I've given more than one Sunday lesson on how I've caught myself slipping into cynicism, which is how I cope with despair, until I wake up and realize that I'm living in reaction rather than in creation, in essence from the outside in rather than the inside out. And then I shift, mindfully directing my intention back to the truth principles that are my foundation of living. So at least once a year, Michelle or I do a series, this is annoying, do a series on unity basics. Because it provides an introduction to unity principles for new folks, especially those interested in becoming members of UMB. It offers an opportunity, this is really distracting. What happens when you ask for prayer around your voice? The microphone goes out. All right.
Did you turn yours off?
Yes. Is that better?
Yes.
All right. Okay. So, at least once a year, Michelle or I do a series on unity basic principles, as much for ourselves as for all of you. Because in addition to providing an introduction to unity principles for new folks, especially those interested in becoming UMB members, and an opportunity to increase all of our awareness and understanding of our foundational teachings, it is also how we continue to acknowledge and address the questions, doubts, and our fears that naturally arise in the course of life's challenges by refocusing ourselves on living our truth. Not as dogmatized beliefs, for example, reciting God is good all the time over and over again, or by ignoring and withdrawing from the world, just saying I'm just going to avoid all of that, but rather by consciously shifting to living from the inside out. In essence, aware that we create our experience in life through the thoughts, attitudes, beliefs, and feelings that we hold in mind and that we pay attention to. Now, I'm not saying that shifting our perspective and mindfully directing our attention magically resolves society's issues, brings out the sun, or protects us from bad things happening, but it definitely changes us. Emily Cady, author of Lessons in Truth, Unity's foundational primer, calls this realization living with spiritual understanding, which comes to us as a spiritual rebirth, a revelation of truth or God within our hearts and within our consciousness. Meaning that beyond an intellectual perception of truth, which is a good place to start, this mindful shift involves the awakening of our hearts and minds through aha moments of knowing the truth. Now, I believe such aha moments are what cause so many of us to cry every time we come to Unity for the first year or so. The feelings, the music, the words all align with the truth within our hearts, the truth that our hearts have longed for, that we're all loved just the way we are. Reverend Mark Hicks, the founder of Truth Unity, the website that has digitized a huge amount of Unity's writings in history, has the most of them in one place, and the editor of the newly published Fillmore Study Bible, which Reverend Michelle contributed to, spoke to this during his presentation at Unity's annual convention the last week in June. Specifically addressing how we answer the question, what is unity? How many of you have ever heard that? Well, what's unity? All of us, right? When we're asked by someone, we tell that we go to Unity, and the first response is, what's unity? Is it Unitarian? And that's the second question. Mark suggests that when we hear that question, and sometimes it's even coming from within our own hearts, right? What is this unity that I've dedicated my life to? He makes the point that we often focus on explaining Unity's organizing beliefs, in essence, our 5 basic principles, like we're going to be doing over the next few weeks. But without also emphasizing Unity's equally essential mystical dimension, in essence, how we experience God in unity. It was an important reminder for me as I was preparing this lesson, and as we're beginning to review our Unity basic principles, that I need to also explore both how we understand and experience our defining principles. So we're going to keep that in mind as we go through these next few weeks. I'm going to ask you to continue to ask, so how does this show up in my life? Not just what is this intellectual belief, but how do I live it? How do I feel it? So first, a little background. Not surprisingly, what has come to be called the 5 Unity principles cannot be found anywhere in Fillmore's writings. Rather, they were distilled from a multitude of Unity writings by then Unity CEO Connie Fillmore in the 1970s. She was the granddaughter or great-granddaughter of Charles and Myrtle. She wrote it as an attempt to provide a simplified summary of our teachings, which align also with the laws of the universe. To be clear, while there's a general consensus around the underlying concepts of these principles, there is little, not surprisingly, or no consistency, in essence, no dogma, on how they're written. In fact, my own versions continue to evolve. Nevertheless, I and many others still find them to be a meaningful and helpful place to start this journey about exploring what is unity. So with those caveats, today we're going to be looking at the first and primary principle from which all the others flow, namely, God is. There is only one presence and one power in the universe, God the good. Next week, Michelle will explore the second principle, I am. We are made in the image and likeness of God, Christ beings inherently good. The third Sunday, I'll address the third and fifth principles. I think. According to the law of mind action, we co-create our reality through the thoughts held in mind, in essence, where we focus our attention. And its parallel, I do. We live our highest understanding of truth into our daily lives, actually whether we're conscious of it or not. And the final week, Michelle will explore Unity's foundational spiritual practice and discipline, I pray. Through prayer and meditation, we open to and align our hearts and minds with God and truth. Now, one more caveat before we begin. Michelle and I will be sharing our highest understanding and experience of these principles at this point in time, reserving, like our founders, Charles and Myrtle, the right and responsibility to change and evolve our minds over time. Just as we invite all of you to discern your own understanding and experience of these principles, that which resonate with the truth that lives in and as you at this point in time, leaving whatever doesn't fit on the shelf to reconsider or not at a later time. Or I invite you to be taking notes and bring any questions that you would like to have to our discussion time after the service. So let's dig in with God is. First, by acknowledging that what we call God is clearly undefinable, in essence, beyond words. The best we can do is provide pointers based on the insights, inspirations, experiences, and subsequent understanding of those who have gone before us, as well as our own experience, those things that speak to our heart's calling. I am totally grateful for the masters, mystics, and even humble seekers from various spiritual traditions who through meditation, contemplative prayer, reflection, and study of sacred scriptures have established a perennial wisdom that makes the sacred more accessible for the rest of us. We don't have to accept it as is, but there's something to engage in, listen to, and respond to, and find what fits in our hearts and what doesn't. Charles Fillmore was such a mystic, and he affirmed the mystic in all of us. He called us to awaken to our own inherent spiritual nature that, as I noted earlier, gives us the capacity to discern the truth within ourselves, especially when we come to the God of our understanding with open hearts and open minds. Central to Unity's teachings is our first principle, often offered in our statement as a statement of faith, like we did this morning. No matter what Unity church you go into, you're likely to hear something similar to this. There is only one presence and one power in the universe, God the good. We have added some other aspects to that, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute. In the Revealing Word, which is Charles Fillmore, basically dictionary of metaphysical words that aren't proper nouns, he describes God as the creator, the infinite, the eternal, noting God is not person but principle, underlying unchangeable truth. As principle, God is absolute good expressed in all creation. Now this depersonalization of God can be one of the most dramatic and often difficult shifts away from our traditional experience or view of God, especially as, even in Unity, we continue to use anthropomorphic descriptors like God the Father or God, Mother, Father, God. And scriptures consistently use the pronoun he, which we're still struggling to replace with more inclusive language. How many of you have that experience, had that experience of shifting from a God that was your friend, that you talked to and such, to trying to wrap your brain around this idea of God as principle? Emily Cady offers a slightly different perspective, quoting the Gospel of John, where Jesus is speaking to a Samaritan woman saying, God is spirit, and those who worship him must worship in spirit and truth. Though she too emphasizes that God isn't a super being possessing superpowers or attributes, and explaining that God is the name we give to the unchangeable, inexorable principle at the source of all existence. The invisible and intangible, but very real, something we call life, love, intelligence, wisdom, peace, creativity, and more. The total of all good, she says, whether manifested or unexpressed. I found that depersonalizing God in this way is effective in helping us move beyond the anthropomorphized character traits that humans have projected onto God over time. For example, anger and jealousy, as well as making inconsistent choices like intervening to save this life but not that one. In its place, what Unity offers is God as principle and truth that applies to all of creation, including that which we call God, because it is God. In other words, God is not a being we can plead to or bargain with to intervene and overrule the law. Rather, God is the law. And rather than exceptions to the law, Unity teaches that miracles are actually a shift in our perception from error to truth. In essence, a realization of truth that we didn't previously understand. which is why our prayer practice is not one of beseeching a God to intervene or play, as Sue said last week, let's make a deal. But rather, we see prayer as affirming and aligning ourselves with the truth of divine love, wisdom, order, etc., that already is present in our lives. Note, there's no wrong way to pray. If your intentions are loving and your heart and mind are open, Unity's method of prayer simply lines with our understanding of truth. But it's not the only way. Michelle's going to offer more about that in our final lesson in this series. So as I've shared before, to help shift my consciousness from viewing God as a being out there to principle everywhere present, I went through a year or two where every time I said or thought God, I added in my mind the ever-expanding, ever-unfolding, upward progressive movement of life. Now that's a mouthful. It was powerful for me because it came from Dorothy Pearson, who was one of my mentors and had made a huge difference in my life. You can consider creating and adding your own words that help you shift from seeing God as this being out there to this presence that is all present. So let's go a little deeper into some synonyms that Unity uses for God, specifically mind and love. Again, I'm referring to Fillmore's The Revealing Word. Mind, with a capital M, or divine mind, Fillmore says, is God, the universal principle, which includes all principles and through which all things are created. Fillmore metaphysically interprets the concept of the Trinity to explain how creation works via mind, idea, expression. More specifically, he adds, God is the name of the all-encompassing mind. Christ is the name of the all-loving mind. Holy Spirit is the all-active manifestation. And love in divine mind is the power that joins and binds in divine harmony the universe and everything in it. Divine love is impersonal. It loves for the sake of loving. It is not concerned with what or who it loves, nor with a return of love. Like the sun, its joy is in the shining forth of its nature. In its fullest human expression, love is an inner quality that sees good everywhere and in everybody. It insists that all is good, and by refusing to see anything but good, it causes that quality finally to appear uppermost in itself and in all things. Love is the great harmonizer and healer, the pure essence of being that binds together the whole human family. Now that can sound like denial, like we're just pretending that God is all good and we just refuse to look at anything that doesn't measure up to what we think is good. Where in fact it's more like what we've been learning from our Buddhist lessons, that it's about accepting what is, but choosing to focus on what's meaningful and life-giving within our own selves and within our communities and families. So there's a distinct difference, but we have to be awake and conscious about how we implement that. And I believe that's a perfect segue to integrate how we understand the concept of God with how we experience God in our lives. Fortunately, as Reverend Hicks pointed out, Unity both respects and encourages our intellectual understanding of principle as well as our mystical capacity to experience divine revelations through contemplative prayer and meditation, recognizing that both approaches both serve and support and inform our ongoing spiritual evolution. There are times that I learn principles that don't resonate with me, but I take them into prayer and they grow into a strong understanding and belief. Other times I start from that understanding, from that revelation that I claim, and from there seek out how it fits into a comprehensive view of the world and the universe. Without the experience, be it an aha moment or a healing moment of divine love, all I've shared is just a bunch of words. The Fillmores were mystics first, experiencing the healing, loving presence of God in their lives. And then Charles sought about to discern the underlying truths of their experience so that they could be written down, explained, and taught and replicated by others. I also came into Unity with a deep level of knowing and experience of God as love, based on a pre-Unity spiritual awakening and mystical experience of unconditional love, as I've shared with you before. That experience that I had when I was 19, that experience of unconditional love, still remains with me today. There's nothing that has been able to challenge it, no matter what the challenges in my life have been about. Now, that doesn't mean that it necessarily has shown me what to do or had me not feel the pain of circumstances that happen. All of that still comes about, but I also was totally supported by this unconditional love. It serves as my primary spiritual foundation. So as I came into Unity, as I had come into all of the different traditions that I searched through to find a home, that was my primary principle. And if I heard things that didn't align with God is love, then I knew it wasn't the place for me. Sometimes I would try and translate for a while, but it still didn't feel like home. When I walked into Unity, the most amazing aspect of it was I didn't have to translate. That it was totally an expression of divine love. That's when I began crying every Sunday that I went, as my heart felt acknowledged and my sense of knowing, that inner knowing, was affirmed. So when I first started figuring out how I was going to integrate God as principle with this very present experience that I had of the divine, I remembered that spiritual paradoxes are always opportunities to seek a higher perspective. And so I surrendered into the ever-present mystery of God, trusting that somehow both could be true, and more would be revealed as I continued on my path. I think it was the beginning of my both-and approach to living. And more is being revealed. Note the present tense. That was some 50 years ago, and yet I continue to evolve in my understanding, with the most recent evolution being the change to our statement of faith that more fully integrates our understanding and experience of God the good, expressing as infinite God beyond us, intimate God beside us, inner God being us, divine love in action. So finally, I'm going to close by coming full circle back to where we started with the questions about how we reconcile our statement of faith with the seeming chaos, fear, hatred, and evil in our world today. In essence, how do we continue to live fearlessly, compassionately, and peacefully in spite of worldly conditions? And perhaps even more importantly, how do we discern what is ours to do? Now, I don't pretend to have all or even any of the worldly answers for today's problems. I acknowledge it's easy to feel overwhelmed. But what I know from my experience is that living our principles works when practiced in our daily life. First and foremost, living from the inside out, remembering that we have the capacity to choose what thoughts we hold in mind and where we focus our attention. And simply, though not necessarily easily, developing the disciplines to exercise that capacity. In short, the disciplines of prayer, meditation, study, and reflection on a regular basis become sufficient to countering all the noise and potential distractions in the world of appearances. Doesn't mean that our attention won't get pulled away, but when we're grounded in these principles, we more quickly return to the truth that we know. And then we find ways to reinforce that spiritual truth into our living, being part of a sacred community, being of service to the greater community, finding avenues like COPA that help us focus on what we can accomplish to make the world better rather than railing against what's wrong. We can mindfully set boundaries around what we consume, limiting the negative, be it news, people, or situations, while seeking out and focusing our attention on what is good, inspiring, and hope-inducing. This can help us rise above what is discouraging and fear-inducing. Remembering we are mind, spirit, and body, and taking care of our bodies, our health, almost always helps our minds feel more at peace. Any of you experience that? You can be all agitated, but take a run or do some stretching or do a yoga session, and we can feel our very beings recenter and become more peaceful. We can also go for walks, dance, sing, laugh, practice some creative expression like art or painting without any judgments. All help us center so that we can focus our minds on what is good and right. Also, we need to reach out, share our struggles with others, and seek help when it is needed. These are all integral to the physical, emotional, and spiritual health of humanity. Humans are designed to live in community and overcome difficulties with the support of others. Just being heard is one of the most powerful healing practices that we can engage. And finally, being the change. I know it sounds cliche, but I believe we have more power than we realize. And scary as the world can be, love is more powerful than anything. It changes lives, and it will change our lives too. Namaste.
Moments of quiet contemplation. So getting comfortable in your seat, letting go of outside distractions and bringing in awareness to the center of your being. Beginning to elongate your breath so that you're breathing in deeply into the belly and exhaling slowly. Slowing everything down, letting everything begin to settle, bringing in awareness into the body, feeling your body sitting here, resting gently on you, invite you now to just let all of the teachings you've heard this morning about God, just let them settle. If any of them have been challenging for you or triggered confusion or discomfort in you, just let it all be. Let it just begin to work on you, knowing that you will arrive at a deeper place of understanding. We don't have to figure out what we think God is. We don't have to understand it intellectually. As Vicky mentioned, all we need to do is surrender to the mystery. Knowing that all of our human attempts to explain God and describe God always fall short. And so it's in these moments of quiet, when we still our bodies and still our minds, even for just a few moments, that we enter into that mystery. And we allow an experience of the presence of God to show us in a way that is beyond words. The peace that we feel when we breathe deeply, when we rest our bodies and our minds. The love that we feel that naturally wells up within us, that brings tears to our eyes, that makes us feel connected to one another, to nature, to everything. This is our experience of God. And it will look and feel and be different for each and every one of us. So I invite you to just allow it all to just be as it is. Wherever your current understanding is a perfect place for you to start. And know that as you journey down this path, more will be revealed. And so I invite you now to just rest for a few moments, surrendering your heart, your mind, your being to the mystery that is the presence of God in the silence. time to a close, just gently bringing ourselves back to this moment. We do so with our hearts filled with gratitude for this experience of the presence of God, for this entering into the mystery, for these teachings that guide us along the way, and for this community that supports us in our spiritual growth. We're so very grateful for all of it. We say thank you, God. And so it is. Amen.
Unity of Monterey Bay is a collective consciousness and commitment to all of us who give up our time, treasure, and talent in order to sustain this spiritual community that is dedicated to transforming lives. We know that prosperity is a state of mind that finds blessings in every situation and abundance in joyous generosity. We transform all appearance of fear or lack into faith-filled peace of mind by shifting our attention to thoughts of gratitude for the abundance of God's good in our lives. As the ushers come forward, I invite you to think of something specific you're grateful for in this moment. And now, with our hearts and minds overflowing with gratitude, we breathe into the divine flow of God's good, trusting that we are enough, that we have enough, and that there always is enough to both have and share. For those of you who give online through our website, we have set up monthly auto payments from your bank or give by credit card. We are grateful. And we ask that you join us in faith and gratitude as we pass the offering baskets this morning by holding and blessing the basket as it passes you. And now please join me in our offertory blessing. I am an open channel for God's infinite good, divine love flowing through me, blesses and multiplies everything I give and everything I receive. I am both blessed and a blessing. Thank you, God. Well, I want to say, from gratitude, I'd like to thank Nicole for being my friend. And,
Your special friend?
Yeah, she's my special friend. I called her my friend, and she's like, friend? I'm not your friend. But, yeah, she's my friend. And but I also wanted to acknowledge Sue Radovich. You know, she has a medal. She went to the Olympics. Sue Radovich went to the Olympics and got a medal.
She did.
Oh, yeah. And,
if you're nice to her, she might let you see it.
But also, yeah, I've seen it. But also, I've done some classes. I'm trying to do a gratitude here. Also, I've done some classes with her, and I know that she's very spiritual. Parker Palmer was very touching when we did that class. I just had this thought about her all week, and I felt like I needed to say something. And I know that COPA is a really good thing to do because it's authentic. You hear people's stories. And I wanted to be able to tell a story. I think you know that I'm sort of admiring Linda Foster. She tells such good stories. And so Nicole told me today that, whenever Linda tells a story, she tells a story that's relevant to the topic. So, but, we're all connected, and anything I say I think is relevant. But the main thing is I just want to get across Sue Radovich's passion, and I love passion, and the story today is about love and God, and I love a person that has passion spread myself a little thin, so I'm back off of things, but my heart is with Copa. And so, thank you, Sue.
What a wonderful morning.
So it is with great joy that we bless and give thanks for these gifts and offerings that demonstrate our collective commitment to the spiritual work of love and transformation in our lives and in our world. We dedicate this offering, our lives, and this ministry to more fully expressing the Christ light that is the truth of our being, and inviting all people to know God's love. Finally, knowing that one with God all things are possible, we affirm together, the good is now, the rest is blessed, and the best is yet to be in our lifetime. Gently. Thank you, God. Thank you, pastors. And for musicians whose music we use today, we want to thank Richard Burdick and Claudia Carawan. And our awesome music today, and Sue did a wonderful job today, and Sean and Marianne and myself. For announcements, we invite you to check our e-blast, as well as the handout that is still available back there if you don't have one yet. Summer dinners are ongoing. There's one opening left for the Taste of Italy one. Let's see, July 15th and 21st, August 5th and 26th are booked. So there is still time. Even these can go into late summer, early fall. So there's still time if you feel like you might want to host one of these. You could talk to one of us if you're not sure how that works. And you can sign up to attend any of these in the sacred grounds. As Vicky talked about, our new member orientation and discussion starts today. So this is not just for those who are new or wanting to become members, but anyone who wants a little refresher or just a chance for some interesting discussion. You're welcome to join us downstairs. After the service, we'll give you time to get some coffee and such, and we will reconvene at 11:30. And this will stay to an hour, so we won't keep you too long. but it should be a good discussion. Looking forward to that. Just a reminder that the Anton Miserak concert is coming up on July 21st, and Denise Rosier is here on August 6th. Yep, this Saturday. Is there a slide up? Oh, okay. So this Saturday is the Monterey Peninsula Pride March and Celebration. So the march begins at 11. I think they want us lined up by 10:30. So let's meet here at the church downstairs at 10 o'clock. We have some signs left over from last year that I'm going to be taking a look at today. I think they're still in pretty good condition. But if you are interested in, if there's something specific you want to say, you can get here a little bit early, and we've got pens and cardstock and all this kind of stuff that you can create your own sign, or you can grab one of the ones that we have. So we'll meet here at 10, and probably about 10:20, we'll start heading down and get lined up. Okay, if you want to wear the lavender, not purple, lavender, I was corrected. The lavender shirts, because I told people wear their purple shirts, they're like, what purple shirts? Apparently if I had said lavender, they would have known what I meant. If you want to wear, and there are some for sale still in the sacred grounds if you don't have them, but if you want to wear that, that's great. Or if you want to wear rainbow colors, whatever. Right? Yeah. Okay. And I still need some volunteers to man or woman, or I don't know. Somebody to person the table.
Sit at the table.
To sit at the table. So let me know if you're interested in doing that. Just to hold the date for Tuesday, September 19th. That's going to be that's going to be our anniversary banquet. But we do need auction items. So if you have something that is, new or nearly new that you would like to donate. Also, if you're dining at one of your favorite restaurants, especially if it's a place you go to frequently, ask them if they'd be willing to donate a $25 or whatever gift certificate. That brings them business and such as well. So a lot of places are willing to do that, and then we will auction those off also. If you're not sure what types of things are donatable, just talk to one of us, and we will let you know. Martha, talk to Martha. Martha is the auction coordinator. There we go. And the women's retreat, there's information about that. You can sign up in the sacred grounds. Did I get everything? All right. As we bring our service to a close this morning, we are just so grateful that you decided to join us, whether you're here in person with us or you're watching us on Facebook or watching us later on YouTube. We're just glad that you took time out of your day to join with us, and we know that we are all one in spirit. We are one community, and we want you to know that wherever you are on your spiritual journey, you are welcome here. Prayer chaplain on duty today is Larry. Larry will be available to pray with you after the service, and he will be up here. So we are just grateful for his service and all of our prayer chaplains who keep our church prayed up and hold the high watch for all of us. So we're grateful for that. Alrighty, it's time to form our closing circle for our prayer for protection and our peace. For a large circle that we have to spread out. So, holding in our hearts all of those in our own lives that are in need of prayer this morning, all those on our prayer lists, all those places in our community and around the world that are in need of being lifted up in prayer, we hold them in this circle as we join in our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. I am light. The love of God enfolds us. I am love. The power of God protects us. I am power. The presence of God watches over us. I am
free.